Hey, this is Liz from Hedgehog Lodge, coming to you from my hedgehog condo. Um, I'm just making a quick video because I've been getting a lot of questions these days about breeding. Part of this is due to the fact that a lot of my first litters are now reaching the age where it's best to start breeding the females if that's what you want to do. So I thought I'd just go over a few things about breeding. First of all, my stance on it, and I get a lot of questions, criticisms about the fact that I do breed hedgehogs, mainly because I'm an avid member in the animal rescue community, and a lot of the time there's kind of a bit of a war between animal rescues and animal breeders. Rescuers saying that animal breeders are mass producing these creatures and there's already so many that need good homes, and animal breeders saying, well, who's going to produce the good quality ones? Like, if we stop breeding, the only ones out there are going to be the pet store variety, which are inbred and unhealthy, and then we'll lose all the good lines. Gus, come here. Okay, so I agree with both those statements. Honestly, I do. They both make total sense, and it's really one of those things where I get tired of hearing everybody claim that they know the answer, that their opinion is right. Because, is there an answer? Like, I actually don't think there is. It's a really complicated topic, and I think, my dad used to always say this, and I seriously think he had a point. On issues like that, if you think that you have the answer, you probably just don't know all the facts, or you're missing a side of the story. It's really complicated. I mean, yeah, it would be amazing if everybody stopped buying pets and just started rescuing, but then, the pet stores, they're going to be the last to stop, and then we're going to be left with pet store variety lines. And the main reason I started breeding hedgehogs was because that's the only thing people could really get around here, was pet store hedgehogs, which tend to do a lot worse than other animals in the pet trade. I'll be right back, my dog's being a dumbass. Yeah, so I mean, basically the reason I'm breeding hedgehogs is because I want people to be able to, get a pet hedgehog and not feel terrible about it. I want people to not have to go to a pet store and spend $1 million on a really badly bred animal and then have to spend $1 million more treating it for all the issues it already had, and then have all that money go to the pet trade. I'd rather see it not go there. So I mean, if I could say that my goal is to put pet stores out of business, I would, but, that's a pretty lofty ambition. By the way, Barley is here to assist with this video. She's probably gonna end up kicking me in the face, but I probably deserve it. Hey. Anyways, yeah. So, the first thing you need to consider when you're breeding, and I mean, this is just from my standpoint, but look around you. Are there other breeders in the area? Like, is there a market for your animals? Because the way I have it right now is I generally have more interested parties than I do available baby hedgehogs, which means I get to take my pick of the best candidates that I think would make the best, hedgehog parents. And I mean, I think that's really the way to do it, because you don't want to be producing animals that end up in bad homes. You're responsible for these animals, and, the very least you can do is set them up for success. And so, I couldn't find, there were not many breeders in the area, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a go, so that's why I did it. And I mean, even if there is another breeder in the area, maybe there's still a market, maybe they're not producing enough hedgehogs, because they do breed slowly, and so, those are things to take into consideration. You don't want to end up with 50 million baby hedgehogs that you can't sell or get rid of. Another thing to take into consideration is the fact that breeding isn't, this beautiful, miraculous miracle all the time. It can go wrong. Especially, I mean, if you don't set yourself up for a good outcome. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough here. Yeah, you can, you can end up with a bit of a tragedy on your hands. Hedgehogs, under stress, will eat their babies, sometimes just kill them. You can, have a perfectly healthy hedgehog that does that. You could have stillborns. You could have issues with the birthing process. You could lose the mother. Even in the best case scenario, you're basically setting yourself up to not really being able to interact with your hedgehog for a month or two, because they're pregnant and they're stressed and they don't really want anything to do with you. Not to mention the fact that once they have the babies, they're going to be really busy, and they, a lot of the time, don't respond well to you interfering. Even the friendliest hedgehog I have gets pretty, grumpy and hormonal, just before she's gonna have her babies. My other hedgehog, who can be a little standoffish, but she generally has a really good personality, she charges at me if I go near her nest. I mean, you have to keep that into You have to take that into consideration. I mean, if you have a really strong bond with your hedgehog and it's kind of like your emotional support animal, I would really recommend not breeding, because it's going to be hard on you, and, there is always the chance that your hedgehog will become a little territorial after she has these babies, even for the long run. So seriously, consider that. Also, again, you need to have some thick skin, because bad things can happen. Another thing is money. Yes, baby hedgehogs sell for a lot of money. No, it's not a big money maker. You're not going to make a whole ton of money. I mean, when it comes down to it, you have to interact with these babies every single day separately for, a month and a half. And so, I mean, when it comes down to it, $250 for each one is really not that much, especially when you're putting in money for food, money for litter. You want to set aside potential money for vet bills. It's a lot of work. And so, I mean, I would really only encourage you to do that. If you're kind of looking out at the bigger picture. You want to do something for the hedgehog community, Just loving hedgehogs isn't really the reason to breed. Another thing you want to take into consideration, and this is really important, is where your parents are from. You want to have a good quality stud male. You want to have a good quality breeding female. Actually, you probably want to have a few of them. I've got 2. I'm looking into getting a 3rd. I mean, if you're just a one-person operation and you're kind of doing it as a hobby, you've got a job on the side and all that, you probably don't want to go, too many hedgehogs, because they do need individual interaction. The females, you can sometimes have them together as a group to hang out with them, but as a rule, you want to kind of plan for them to not get along, because when they start getting hormonal, they're not going to want to hang out with each other. So it does take quite a bit of time up, and that's time that is taken away from you, bonding with your hedgehogs, relaxing with your hedgehogs, playing with your hedgehogs. Instead, you're taking care of babies, you're taking care of essential needs. It's a lot more grunt work than just owning a pet, so keep that in mind. It is kind of a job as well. You're going to get a lot of backlash. You're going to get criticism. You're going to get people telling you, I've talked to people who own animal rescues, and the first thing they blurt out is that I'm adding to the problem and I'm a terrible person. Once I describe to them that, I don't think there's any other great places to get hedgehogs from, and that, all my hedgehogs are placed in good homes, and I advocate rescue before even adopting one of mine, they come around. But you have to understand that people who rescue animals just generally don't get along well with breeders. And so expect backlash and know how to handle it. And above all, just keep your head, because when it comes to animals, one person can destroy your reputation if they want to. One person who gets a hedgehog baby from you and, it poops on their couch and they write a bad review, and then suddenly everyone's talking about how your hedgehogs are disgusting and messy, you do need to do, almost a lot of, public image control. If you know that there's somebody that got a baby from you that isn't happy and they're being ridiculous, you have to do everything you can to make them happy, because you don't want to have a bad reputation. And again, one angry person, even if they're angry for no reason, can do wonders for your good reputation. I really encourage having an open breeding setup. So, let people come into your home, let people see where you breed them, even if it's just pictures because your hedgehogs are too stressed out because they're pregnant. The more open and transparent you are, the less people can, insult you and say you're doing it for the money, or you're, a hedgehog mill, or you're, overbreeding your females. If there's tangible proof that you're not, that's the best way you can protect yourself. You haven't kicked me yet. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you haven't kicked me yet. Okay, sorry. So the way I do things is I tend to have just one stud male. And then after a while, you have to start breeding females before they turn 1. Yeah, they're just babies, but that's the way it works. In the wild, they really wouldn't be living above a year or 2, so you need to start breeding them early. So what I did was I bred them first at 5 months. That was a recommendation from my mentor, and everything went well. He suggested not waiting until 8 months, as is the current norm, because he's been doing this since the 80s. He's noticed more complications if you wait that long. So, trial trial by error, you know, over the span of 20-25 years is probably the best advice I'm going to take, and that's why I took it. So both my hedgehogs were bred at the end of their 5th month, so the beginning of the 6th month. Honestly, between 5 and 8 months, that's your best bet. And really, to do it ethically, you want to kind of breed them maybe twice a year, or, you know, 3 times over a span of 2 years. Overbreeding will end in their lifespan being shortened. Underbreeding, I mean, obviously doesn't hurt, but if you're going to be breeding, you kind of have to do it while you can, because you can really only breed a hedgehog till they're 2.5 is even stretching it. So, I mean, you can really only get like maybe 4 or 5 litters out of a female, if you know, stick according to schedule. And so what I do is I'll have a few females, and then when they're old enough, too old to breed, I'll adopt them out as retired breeders. A lot of people love getting retired breeders. They're friendly, I've been handling them, they're nice looking, they have good lines, and they're discounted. Okay, listen. Stop nose booping me, rabbit. I'm not petting you. Attention hog. Anyway, so I'm just going to show you a really quick example of a good setup for a female who is beginning her nesting behavior. So what you want to do is, like, take down the time that you mate your female and male, which is, you know, usually about, you probably want to start getting things ready about 2-3 weeks into the pregnancy. So I mean, like, the earliest possible due date, go like a week or 2 before that, and keep it clean every day, like spot clean a lot more, because when you start getting to like the, you know, month mark, and the babies could really be coming any day now, which is what's going on here, you really don't want to be messing around with their enclosure too much. So what I've done, so Juno's cage up here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is one of my standard enclosures. So you can see some toys, a wheel, I'll get my head out of the way, one of these little upside down dog beds, sorry Juno, which hedgehogs just seem to love. She's mad at me. And what I do to modify this, now I like to leave them in their own cage when I can, although sometimes they find it stressful being around other hedgehogs. Pixie is fine. She's the one pregnant right now. She's really chill. Juno needs to be in a bedroom by herself, so last time Juno was pregnant, she had her own cage, you know, alone, but Pixie likes to be around other hedgehogs. So what I've done is I've replaced her upside down dog bed with a clear Rubbermaid or Tupperware bin right here. This just allows me to be able to peek in a lot easier and kind of keep tabs on things without having to disturb her. Again, I haven't actually mentioned this yet, but the first 2 weeks are the most important. Every day, like, that the hedgehogs are new is critical. The first day is super critical. Second day, even more. And it gets exponentially more likely that they're going to be viable with every day that passes. So, I mean, like, after their 2 weeks, like, that's a standard time. Breeders start taking them out and handling them, you know, for 5 minutes, putting them back, and then kind of increasing from there. Once they're about a month old, you're good to have them out for, you know, long periods of time, and they'll start squeaking when they want their mom, and then you put them back. So you really want a nest box that's, like, easy to get into and easy to get out of, and that will cause your female the least stress. So as you see, I've packed this with newspaper shavings. I like it because they can carry them around. They're not overly messy, like wood chips that stick to everything. They can, you know, make little nests with it, and I've actually put, I don't know if you can see here, but I've actually put the top of a shoebox lid at the bottom of this, and that's a piece of cardboard because females like to scratch, and that's how you can tell babies are coming too. They'll start like at the bottom of their cage because they're kind of trying to like burrow. And so I put the cardboard there so there's a little bit of resistance and they can like actually scratch it. Because I think it really relieves tension, you know, they're trying to make a nest and they can't. I feel like that makes them stressed, right? So if you have like that piece of cardboard or whatever there, it kind of gives them something to dig at. It makes them feel more like in a natural situation in the wild where they'd be digging into a bush or digging into the ground or whatever. They'll actually like scratch it up and you'll find like all this shredded cardboard like placed like neatly around like the babies and stuff. It's really funny. So I mean, I've done it a few times, and I really found, like, good results with it, and I think the females really do like it. It's also a lot less noisy than them scratching at the bottom of a plastic cage or something like that, or in their litter box, and they'll spray litter everywhere, so. So right now I've got the wheel in here. I keep that up in there until I notice the babies, because honestly, exercise can stimulate labor, and if the hedgehog is, a couple days into it, and, they should have had their babies maybe last week or whatever, who knows, maybe that'll help. Also, I mean, exercise is important for pregnant women, pregnant hedgehogs alike. You don't want to bore them. They don't care they're pregnant. They still want to, YOLO swag and live it up. So I keep the wheel in there. However, I do take it out when the babies are born, mainly, there's some debate on whether this matters or not, you don't want the babies to get ignored if the mom gets too excited about the wheel, or even the babies to, crawl over and, injure themselves, because they're pretty dopey, when they're little. I take it out for the first, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, until the babies are able to walk around on their own, and then they like to start using the wheel. But at that point, I like to put one of those flying saucers in, because it's easier for them to play on. So, what I'll actually do is after the first couple of weeks, when the mom starts wanting space to herself, and you'll find her lying in the litter box, you'll find her lying, just splatted out on the floor because she just wants to get away from the babies, I'll actually take out the wheel and put in one of these upside-down dog beds for the mom to go get some space. And eventually the babies are going to start wandering out of the nest, and they're going to want, maybe to sleep somewhere else or whatever. Here's a really big point, and that, if you're a neat freak or you're really sensitive to smell, you might not want to breed hedgehogs. You can't change the cage for 2 weeks when when the babies are born, because you don't want to be mixing up all the scents and freaking the mom out. So, I mean, what I'll do is, after, maybe 10 days, I'll start taking out little pieces of the newspaper and replacing it. But, I mean, the bottom is what really gets gross, and you can really only do a full scrub down of the cage, after, maybe a month and a half, or pretty much once the babies have left the nest. While they're there, you kind of want to do, selective spot cleaning, so you're not wiping all the sense of security away. And so, I mean, I wait a full 2 weeks before cleaning out the nest box, really, at all. I mean, the most I'll do, again, is replace a few pieces of paper. Seriously keep that in mind, because sometimes it doesn't smell great, especially with, a mom that's eating a lot and pooping a lot, and all those babies, they don't poop much, but they are pooping. So, eventually, after about a week, nearing the end of the 2 weeks, it starts to get a little ripe in there, and, it, it's not pleasant. So, again, keep that in mind. All these are little things you want to keep in mind. I like to place the food dish near the nest box, and I'll actually sometimes put it in the nest box if it's a particularly large litter to save time for the mom. And I'll actually take, a few kibbles and sprinkle them around in there so the babies can start trying to eat. I recommend Mother and Baby Cat formula by Royal Canin, which was recommended to me by another breeder. And it's really nice because the kibbles are small, so the babies are easy to get, are given an easier time at, trying solids on their own for the first time. But something else you can do is crush up regular kibbles. But you definitely want to get, a formula for nursing kittens, and nursing cats and kittens, because mom's going to be using a lot of nutrients. So I think that's about it. I mean, I'm really trying to make this quick, and I don't want this to be the only resource you go look at. Gather lots of opinions, on breeding, and really decide if it's for you, and if it's a responsible thing for you to do. And I mean, don't forget, they can have anywhere from 3 babies to 11 or 12. You could have a litter of 12 babies, and each of those babies needs socialization every day at the month-old mark. Keep all of this in mind. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Any polite criticisms, you can leave that in the comments below. And I wish you guys good luck with your endeavors. Some people, other hedgehog breeders, may disagree with me, but if you decide to breed, I would prefer that you do it safely. Again, I'm kind of for the harm reduction method. So if you're going to breed, you're going to do it whether I tell you how to do it or not. So I might as well show you how to do it safely, because if you breed a mom too late, if you breed a mom too early, if you handle the babies too much, it can result in death, or worse, like a massacre type deal. You don't want that on your hands. That's no fun. So please reach out to me if you need a hand. And one thing I will address right now, if you're asking me whether you should breed your hedgehog because they're really, really awesome, if you don't know the lines, don't breed it. End of story. You don't want to pass on any genetic issues, so please don't ask me that, because that's really my my response. So anyways, good luck with everything, and I hope to hear from you. Cheers.